Okay, so here we are playing Byzantium, still first turn. Ran around the table once more, very quickly. Blue and yellow still improving their Byzantine position. Red and green improving their Arab position with more advances and attacks. Now at this point, blue might want to consider trying to strike down and hit the Arabs there. Of course, if the Arabs... So the Arabs are too close to each other for either one to take the advantage of pushing the Bulgars towards Constantinople. That risk becomes not worth making because of the current situation. So while they're competing to try to improve their own situations, at the same time we see the points on the Byzantine side increasing. Now here's the problem. Byzantine players are both over 20. They have to be careful, certainly by the end of the game, to make sure that they get at least 50% of their value on the Muslim side. And the same really goes here for the Muslims who are at 18 and 16. They have to be careful and try to make sure that they're within 50% in order to, if the automatic victory doesn't take place, make maximum use of their points. They start off with 10 points for the Byzantines. Also has to be a little careful here. Blue and yellow, they're going to have to pay a lot of cash for their tokens. Right now they're at $8 short of maintaining their army for the Muslims. So they're probably going to have to take some Arab actions. Come back and see if they do. And indeed, everybody kind of got this group think. And this happens sometimes in real games, probably more when I'm playing solo like this, where one person does something and everybody else kind of follows. Although I definitely see that a lot in a multiplayer game. Sometimes one person will stand out and not follow the group, but somebody makes a move. In this case, blue grabbed their Arab army and marched it forward, grabbed something, got a couple of Arab victory points, and also reduced the cost of their Arab army by paying a movement token, right? Those are $1 each. So by depleting your army, you make it cheaper to keep, as well as getting some taxation that you can bring in. So it's a good move across the board both ways. Over yellow, same issue. Moved forward, grabbed Ardabil up here, and that kind of cuts off green. Green was considering playing for a civil war peace and attacking, but green wants the Arabs to do well, in particular their Arabs to do well, so they would rather not wipe them out in a fight against yellow's Arabs, which yellow probably doesn't care as much about. And then red and green kind of did turnabout as fair play, red grabbing over here at Candia, and Ankara going over to green. Again, gotta fund the Byzantine armies and make sure that they're not going to run out of money. Now the Byzantine armies, you start off with more cash, so they're not as big a problem, right? 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 bucks. I've got enough to fund that right off the bat, but you kind of want to keep that thing somewhat coherent and strong, because you can always use it in the civil wars as an example. We may start seeing those as well coming out. We saw green deny it, but why should yellow deny it? Yellow might want to improve the position of their Byzantines by making that action. A lot of different choices here, a lot of different options and paths. Nothing's really broken open yet. Blue continued their push forward into Amida, grabbing that. Yellow likewise pushed forward up here to Tiflis, getting a couple victory points. That isn't right. They should have only gotten 1 for that. And $1. Ooh. And now I've got to try to reconstruct. Well, I've gotten only $2. I actually didn't even bother moving it, and I didn't take the money. So that may be why I didn't notice. Got to be careful with these games. I tend to do this a lot. Looks like I paid attention with blue. Over on red and green, they expanded into territories in the Byzantine area in order to help fund their armies. Still not breaking things open yet. And the number of tokens that everybody's got is going down. It's decreasing. So there's not going to be that much that they can do, maybe. They got cash, they can push things. They can make the tax actions, whatever. Hard to call. All right, well, we'll keep going. Okay, well, things are starting to heat up a little bit more here. Let's see, I gotta try to remember what happened. It's kind of tough. But blue attacked Trebizond, which I believe was held by yellow's Byzantines. They used their Arabs to move forward, and yellow stood and fought and was defeated. The Byzantines were knocked back, driven back into Sinope, and then Trebizond fell to the Arabs. Yellow then went and grabbed Derbent here, add some more territory to their Arab holdings so that they get more cash. Red launched an attack up here against blue and was actually defeated. The Byzantines, with the 5 dice rolling, were able to do enough damage to drop them down to 7 tokens. And actually, no, they did not defeat. The Byzantines were defeated and are driven back. We'll go back to here, and the Byzantines now get to roll a defense with the city against that. I screwed up. They do a hit against, and red actually gets 2. Takes this. Well, at least you get to see a combat in action or a siege changing hands. And they get $2 there. And green went and did the same kind of thing, marching against... they played a civil war and I believe hit blue there and took one of their territories, also pillaging it. So we're seeing the Arabs actually expanding quite nicely against the Byzantines. Those Byzantine armies are too small to stop the Arab advance right now. Nobody's put the funding in. The blue player could grab 3 of these tokens and throw it up into his Byzantine army. But if he does that, that's things that he could use. That he could be claiming territories, getting victory points right away and money right away. So it doesn't make a lot of sense at this point in the game. There's too many victory points lying around to be taken, I think. All right, onward. Okay. I think mainly people have been settling on grabbing points here, there, or elsewhere. Blue, I believe, may have picked up another Byzantine city and some more points. Maybe not. I can't remember. I'm at the limit of my memory at these 4 players already. I don't know what they did. Yellow definitely grabbed Medina, or Medina. Ended up getting using their last token for that, getting themselves some extra expenditures so that they can pay their Arab units. I'm trying to figure out what blue did. They didn't attack, so I don't know what they could have done otherwise. Going on to red and green both expanded into the Byzantine areas, upping their value in them and helping to pay for their armies there. We're going to move forward. It's just about time to think about passing. You see yellow's out of tokens. They're probably going to do it. So blue has to decide, do I want to go first? Is there something I'm really, keen on here? I think the answer is not particularly. The Emperor is a good token. But otherwise, hey, there's still things to grab. There's still things to do. And pushing forward might be a valuable option. They can't do much with the Arab army, but they can do something with their Byzantine army still, and they could move forward. I don't know what they could take in particular. That is probably too well defended. Let's see, 5 red and a white. yeah, outnumber them a little bit, might be able to do that, might be able to swing things in our favor. On the other hand, hey, that's cheap, might as well. So I think that's what we're going to do, and I'll start and come around. I think we're going to start seeing people dropping off. So we saw blues action, and they went ahead with it. Yellow, oh god, this is so damn hard to remember. Yellow dropped the pass into place. Red ended up grabbing, I think, Adrianople, and then green activated the Bulgars and took Athens. Now what's kind of interesting here, I gotta look up and see if the Bulgars are allowed it's a city connected to a Bulgar city. Is how do they connect? That's the kind of thing, it's not covered in the Bulgar rules, so maybe it's covered in the battle rules or something else. So again, you have to kind of read the whole rules once over to find one little piece of information. Horrible set of rules. Pain in the ass that, when you don't have the kind of discipline. And I make fun of something like GMTs, but these are truly badly organized in a way that just puts to shame any wargaming company that fails on rules. It just can't manage it at this level. This is epic fail. I'm gonna have to look and try to see if the Bulgars can cross this way. I highly doubt that they can. But again, I'm going to have to look through not just the Bulgar attack rules and read them again and again and see, but also seeing the movement here. Maybe this says, because it seems like it specifies things about Arabs and Byzantines moving across sea. It doesn't specify anything about Bulgars. My gut tells me they can't. My gut also tells me I read that they can't, but I can't find that. The rules are just too poorly organized for that. But anyway, we have our first player for the next turn, and that means red's sealed in. They don't have to pass. Now they have an extra token. But if they have something they want to do, they can stretch the turn out a little bit more. They know that they're going to go in second place no matter what. And everybody else knows that they're fixed in place too. But things aren't infinite. Everybody's down to a very limited number of tokens that they can play for free. And any other option would require them buying tokens. And what is that? That's like 3 Byzants a token. That's a high price to shift things from the dead pile. It's just going to be a pain in the butt from now on in the game, but hopefully people will be producing enough cash from their holdings to be able to bring tokens back up. And then maybe they can use that money to put tokens over here where they'll get washed back in here without being a pain. We'll see. Actually, it is under here. The Bulgars can attack Constantinople, in which case the Bulgars can never attack along a sea line. Bang, it's over in terms of that. So the Bulgars are going to be limited to the European area. And once they attack Adrianopolis, they make Constantinople open, which is going to be kind of a game changer. All right, we'll start that next turn then. Next turn, of course, was something of a misnomer. I meant the next time around. Well, I've done 2. And everybody's kind of piled out at this point, but blue placed and took over Dyrrhachium. Hey, it's victory points, it's money for the next turn, it seems worth it. Even if somebody took it, it would still be victory points. Yellow had to miss, but red ended up, hard choice for them. They were thinking about improving their city, which is, I think, what yellow actually did. I don't know where they are. I'm not really seeing what they did, but I see a yellow piece here that I don't know what I did with. But regardless of that, I don't see a yellow fortress, which is what would have been created by that, and that doesn't seem right. I also don't see anywhere where I think they improved, so I may have just screwed up and placed that illegally and done nothing. I have no idea. Or maybe it was meant to be here. I don't know. Anyway, that's out of the play. Let's keep going and just forget about that. Red was considering building up Mecca, but instead what they did was they grabbed Tabuk, the last of these. It's worth a victory point as well as the income. It seemed valuable to take it. It can't fall to the Byzantines, so only an Arab army can take it, and that doesn't seem too much of a threat at this point. It's too low value. And then green passed, and then everybody passed out on the next time around. So we're going to be at the end of the turn period here. We're shifting into turn 2, and we have to see what actually happens at that point. Now, I've already gone through this, but what's going to happen is we get income to pay and maintain armies. Each city is going to create 2 bezants. Oh, I thought it was just 1. And then I have to pay the costs on those, and I'll come back after I do that, at which point all the cubes from the special action display, the tax box, and the pass go back in the cube pool over here, where they're available for use next turn. And half the casualty pool goes into the cube pool, which I had forgotten that I'm going to get that constant reassessment of cubes. So buying cubes probably isn't that necessary. I'll come back after all that maintenance stuff and show you what happened. Okay, and after paying that out, people who had the Byzantine power have gotten, or who invested more heavily in the Byzantines, have definitely gotten a huge increase in cash. Big piles of money here. Everybody's increased their total cube holdings in their pool, but you'll see the Muslims, their money's a little less. Here we've got, just significantly smaller amounts because the cities don't produce as much. They had to do the fighting actions, etc. They didn't capture as many. So not only are they kind of a little behind in victory points, but they're a little behind in the money to fuel their next turn. But still, it looks like they have sort of the advantage in terms of momentum. The Byzantines aren't as capable, I think, of coming back and attacking. They certainly don't have this as a threat, which can just take the game and end it at any point. If someone gets far enough ahead, look, red is jumping ahead on the Muslim track. He's 3 ahead of green. If he gets enough of a jump on green, he can move into Adrianople, take the victory point for that, for taking it again. Remember, he's already got the Byzantine victory points for it. He can take the victory point in the Muslim side for taking it, and let green or whomever, now green going right after him makes it more likely that it'll be green, attack Constantinople and take it. So, at the very least, green has to make sure he doesn't get ahead in that. But some of the other players, blue and yellow, may want to make sure that they stay in range, just in case green falters, so that 5-point swing can't be made available, and they can keep the threat alive as well. Not that they can guarantee that if they're going to win, that green won't perhaps try to trigger that attack somehow. I'm not sure. But anyway, that's where we stand. I'm going to load this up, take a look at how it works as we move into turn 2. And yellow will be our first player. These go back. I haven't dropped them in the cube piles. Let me start with yellow. All right.